Hi friends, it's Ravi from Traders Hedge. I'm really very excited and happy to invite you all for this launch of Traders Hedge Pro AI version. It's been quite a while that we have not updated the indicator. This Traders Hedge Pro AI is a result of a lot of research that has been done in building this indicator, and very excited and happy to share with you guys. Okay, so in this video, right, we'll just walk through the new features that we have introduced in Traders Hedge Pro AI, starting with how to add the indicator, then how to understand the indicator, and what are the new features that is being introduced in the indicator, and how to use them for making trading decisions in the using the indicator. Okay, let's get started. So let's first see like how to add the indicator. So whenever you have subscribed the indicator, right, the next once you get the successful confirmation of subscription, then all you have to do is go to the trading view and then click on the above indicators option. Once you see this indicators, metrics and strategies, right, you will see option called as invite only. So if your indicator is subscribed and it's activated, when you click on invite only, right, you should be able to see this Traders Edge Pro with alerts. Okay, and my name will be shown out here, Ravichandran. So once you select this script name, right, by default you can see the indicator is being added. Okay, once the indicator is being added, right, it will take a while to load it out. Once the indicator is loaded, you can see your at the very top the heading Traders Hedge Pro AI. Okay, and you should be able to see the indicator loaded with the default mode, and you should be able to see the dashboard and also a disclaimer at the very right bottom corner. Okay, so now this is how you add the indicator. Once the indicator is activated and it's added fine, then I'll just explore and show you out the different new features that has been introduced. By default, when you add the indicator, right, it goes in analysis mode. We have introduced two modes in the indicator. One is adapt analysis and AI mode. Okay, you can see analysis and AI. Okay, analysis mode is where you do your analysis part of it, where in which, like, like our indicator is mainly based on pivots, so you will see every data that is required for pivot based analysis. Everything will be plotted by default for you. We will get in depth on that. Okay, and the new feature that we have introduced is the AI mode. Like, this AI is nothing but adaptive intelligence. Okay, once you click this bar, right, you can see what exactly it is. Okay, so adaptive intelligence is something like as the market dynamics changes, right, the parameters of the markets changes, so the indicator automatically adapts those new changes, and then dynamically updates the values and plots and support and resistances and everything. Like, so it is adaptive enough as the market dynamics changes, right, everything parameters is taken care, and then the new values are automatically taken in care. That's what. So when you change to AI mode, right, you can see it, the charts are much more cleaner. It only plots out your support and resistances. Okay, nothing else. And when you choose AI and analysis mode, right, you get all the pivot based CPR at a upper resistance band, lower resistance band, your targets, and everything is being plotted out. But when the same thing, when you go in AI mode, right, it just uh, does the analysis part of it and automatically plots out only the support and resistance bands. This is a great um, uh, I think so. It's a great update, and visually it's very easier to study out. It takes a little bit time of to understand this part of this, because it's very easy. But before you get into the AI mode, right, I would like you to get into analysis mode and do analysis. Okay, this gives more confidence in the market. Okay, so let's get started with analysis mode, and then we'll go about each of the features that is being there, and then we'll go with AI. Okay, so as I said, like, when you add the indicator, right, by default it goes into analysis mode. Okay, by you can see this, the analysis mode is by default enabled, and this is trade type. Okay, and if you see your on the right help, it says suggested time frames. So the indicator what Traders Hedge Pro AI, right, is being built not only for intraday, it is built for all kinds of time frames or for all kinds of traders, like whether you are an intraday player, whether you are a scalper, whether you are a micro swing trader, or you are a swing trader, or you are positionally or an investor. Okay, all these kinds of people are being taken care using one single indicator. Okay, so the suggested time frames for different types of traders is being put out here in the help section. Okay, once you move your mouse on this, right, it automatically says like which is the suggested time frames for each of those. Like you can have a look at that. Ideally, like intraday it is 5 minutes. If you are a scalper, right, it is 3 minutes. Anything less than 5 minutes, like 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, anything that is suits for your style of trading. Okay, so by default it is in auto mode. What I mean by auto mode is when you enable auto mode, right, by default, if you are using 5 minutes time frame, it plots out the intraday levels, that is your daily CPR, daily pivots, daily upper resistance band, everything. But when I change to 1 hour charts, right, it will automatically plot me the weekly pivot. Okay, but you don't need to go and change the settings. It automatically now plots. You can see from Monday to Friday it is plotted. Similarly, when I choose daily candlesticks, it will plot me the monthly CPR. You can see this is my monthly CPR, and this is my upper resistance band, and this is my lower support band. Okay, similarly when you choose weekly, right, it will plot quarterly supports, like one quarter, uh, 3 months pivot along with the 3 months resistance and support. Okay, and lastly when you choose monthly candlesticks, it will plot yearly pivots along with yearly major support and resistance bands. Okay, so you don't need to change anything in the settings, just changing the time frames will taken care of. And as I said, like it is also built for scalpers. Like, so if you're choosing 1 minute or 2 minutes, right, you can see the indicator will automatically get into scalping mode, and then it will plot the indicators in sense the values for your scalping mode. That is, if you're choosing 1 minute, right, it takes care of every 1.5 hours price action and then plots out those range. So trading view is taking some time to load. Okay, it's now loaded. Okay, see, the indicator is built with a lot of research and a lot of code functionalities, so it takes a little bit of time to load it out. Okay, but now you can see this is now 2 minutes chart of Nifty, and you can see this is where the Monday last trading session Friday started. Okay, 9:15, and every 1.5 hour, right, you can see the indicator is plotting out the pivot levels, and then it will does the price action and then tell you out. So this will help. Like how to trade this, we'll check it out later, but this is all about the features of trade type. Okay, and also in case if you are trading weekly positions in Nifty, right, we have also introduced a feature called of expiry day. So in case if you are trading Nifty, you choose Tuesday as your expiry, and then the indicator will automatically plot the CPR levels from expiry to expiry. So let's say like Nifty I have chosen, and I have chosen 5 minutes time frame. Okay, so it will plot me the intraday levels. And if you see, right, let me also show I expiry I have chosen Tuesday, and also I have chosen HTF, higher time frame. So what this higher time frame does is, when I select this, right, if I'm trading intraday, that is 5 minutes time frame, when I'm choosing intraday, right, it will also plot me the weekly one time frame higher. This is my higher time frame, that is my weekly resistance band, weekly CPR, and weekly support. So in one chart, right, you can see where it is trading around the weekly. Okay, so as I said, like if I keep this expiry day as default, that is Friday, right, it will plot from Monday to Friday. Okay, so in case of Nifty, if you see, right, yeah, I now kept it default, so it will plot This is my first day of the week, Monday, and this is my weekly support. This is my weekly resistance. Okay, and you can see this band in between is my weekly CPR, and each day, right, you can see the intraday, the daily CPRs getting plotted. Okay, you can see this is my last trading sessions, Friday's CPR. Okay, this is my Friday CPR, and this is my Friday's upper resistance band, and this is the lower support band. How this bands is implemented, and what is the usage of these bands? You can check out the videos in the apps, Traders Hedge app, which will where I have explained in detail how this acts. But in short, right, this upper resistance band is nothing but a resistance, and wherein if the price breaks this out, it will act as a support, and then the market will rally on the upside. Or any resistance around these bands, right, you can anticipate the market will turn like this. Okay, similarly, the lower support band is where it will act as a strong support for that particular day. Okay, so, and the CPR, as you know, it will act as a strong support if the price is coming from above. It will act as a strong resistance if the price is coming from below. Okay, so more detailed explanations of these, right, you can check out the videos in the app. Okay, so when I enable this higher time frame CPR, right, you can see it is plotted one time frame higher CPR and one time frame higher resistance and supports. Okay, and also when I choose default settings, right, it's Friday, so it will plot from Monday to Friday. Every week will start from Monday to Friday. So you can see this when I plot Monday to Friday, right, in this week you can see this is my weekly CPR. Okay, you can see this band, weekly CPR spread out for the whole week. Okay, and this is my weekly support band, and you can see every time Monday it went above the weekly CPR, almost closed exactly at the weekly CPR high. The next day the market had a gap down, weekly CPR acted as a resistance, and market stayed down. Next day again weekly CPR was tested multiple times, it acted as resistance back. Next Thursday again the market went up, weekly CPR resistance, and it stayed down. Then finally we had a gap up opening, weekly CPR was taken in the very first 15 minutes, and then it stayed above that for the whole session. Like, okay, so this is by default when you plot most of the indicators that you see in TradingView, right, any pivot based indicator, this is how it plots from Monday to Friday. Okay, but when you are trading Nifty, where in which the expiry is on a week, in between a week, right, the contracts are built after the expiry. Like, in sense, if the Tuesday is the expiry of Nifty, then all your contracts are built on Wednesday. So ideally or technically, right, the pivots has to be calculated from Wednesday to Tuesday. That's the cycle for the weekly expiry. So what we have done is when you go and choose Tuesday as the expiry, right, the indicator will start the calculations from the expiry day. Like, okay, so where the fresh contract starts, right, from there it does the calculation. So now you can see this, instead of plotting from Monday, right, it has started plotting the pivots and the calculations based on expiry day from Wednesday. So this is where the contract started, and now you will see a beautiful picture of Wednesday. What has happened? It opened above the daily CPR and also above the weekly CPR, and it went on, then found some resistance, came back, weekly CPR support, and again next day it went up again, weekly CPR support, and then finally when it broke out even the intraday resistance band, it went and took the weekly upper resistance band as a upper blockage, and then it finally broke out and then settled above that. Like, so you can see this how beautifully the changing the expiry pivots, right, helps us to analyze much more accuracy in your trades. Okay, so this is all someone who does weekly expiry trades. Otherwise keep it to default for if you, in case if you're trading with stocks or in any other scripts. Okay, so just keep it as a default. As I said, like, now coming to the dashboard, right, by default when you add a dashboard it shows the symbol name. I'll just make the dashboard a little bit bigger so that you can see it properly. Okay, once you change the large, right, it plots out much bigger, so that accordingly you can based on your screen resolution you can change that. First thing, by default it gives which symbol you are trading and what is the trend on that, like, okay. Instance, before the pre-market even opens, right, in the pre-market when you do this exercise, it shows currently what the trend it says and expected move for that particular time frame, like it says TP1 and TP2. So all our targets we'll see further down the line is being shown out here, ADR targets, which is nothing but your targets on the bullish targets as well as bearish targets. I'll show you that. So this is what it says. Expected, we are seeing target 1 and target 2. And next thing what you can see is yeah, there is an option called as compact. By default it's compact. When I disable this compact, right, what it does is it will give me more data in my dashboard. Okay, what are the other data is as I said, like the based on the volatility of the current script, that particular session, right, it now calculates the targets like TP1, TP2, right, it basically calculates around that. So you can see those targets expected range, okay, that is each of those targets, right, as expected range, how much it will can travel. So expected range for that particular session is 203 points move in case of script Nifty. Nifty, if you are seeing, right, last session we are anticipating when the market started that it will move 203 points, but it has moved 268 points. That is, we anticipated 203, but it is almost moved another 65 points more. So that's why it says 132% move. It's more than 100% of what we have anticipated. Okay, and also it gives the previous sessions whatever the range it is done, right, it is done 67% in the previous session. Okay, why this is required is when you do your analysis, right, these targets, right, and these how much it can move for that particular sessions gives a lot of information for your trade, for predictive trade setups, like, okay. And also we are, along with the normal standard pivots, that is CPR, we are plotting out, we have also introduced Cambrella zones in case someone who was rather than standard pivot, they are also using Cambrella based targets and Cambrella levels. You can enable this and it will automatically plot out your Cambrella resistance band and your tip H4, H5, H6 levels, similarly L3, L4 levels on the charts, like, okay. So you can see this, it is now plotted out extended 3, extended 4, and then TP, T1, T2 and all the stuff, like, okay. So currently we will not dig into Cambrella based entries and exits, but I just kept that option because the indicator is widely used earlier too, and that time a lot of people are using Cambrella, so I just retained that part of it in the existing version of the indicator tool, like, okay. Otherwise this is the standard CPR based pivots, and we have bullish and bearish coloring inside the CPR. So whenever this is enabled, right, what it does is it will plot the CPR. Okay, let me just show you CPR. Let me just higher time frames I switched off. You understood. Session range, you can see this is nothing but your upper and lower support in this session range. So we say this is my session range, this is my session upper part, this is my session lower band. Okay, this upper session band, the market is this is the session for the current day, this is my resistance and this is my support. Okay, if the market is trading open inside this, most of the time it's likely to trade inside this range. If this range is broken out, then it is very bullish and it is likely to trade on the upside. If this range is taken out on the lower side, it's likely to trade on the lower side. Okay, that's the range that what this settings shows out. Okay, and when you enable the CPR, right, you can see the CPR inside the CPR, right, if it is an ascending CPR, it is plotted in green color. Okay, and if it is a descending CPR, we can see it is plotted in red color. Okay, you can see this is a descending CPR, red color, this is a descending CPR, the CPR is plotted in red color. And whenever there is a trend reversal happening in the price, so for example the market is going up and now it is coming down, when it is coming down, right, you can see the CPR color is changed to red. That is means this is where the trend has changed in the market. Similarly here, when it pulled up and went up, right, the trend has changed here. And again you can see this around this, right, again we got a bearish CPR, descending CPR, and again the trend has changed. So this is what this feature in the indicator, wherein which like this part, right, that is trend reversal CPR's colors. If you want, you can customize it to color you like it out. Okay, so this is what that part of it. And also there is a feature called as trend reversal. When you enable this, right, what it does that based on the CPR logic, what is being implemented, if there is a change in trend, right, it will show you this trend reversal sign. You can see this, the market after coming here, it's pulled up on the upside, right, and you can see this that it shows R, that is a bullish R, that is the bullish reversal. And if the label is light shaded, that is the first sign of reversal, and once it is very dark green, it is confirmed that the trend has reversed. Similarly, as the market was making higher highs, ascending CPRs, and this is the first time the CPR is compromised and it's closed on the lower side. This is the first sign of a trend reversal, so that's why it says a reversal out of. Okay, so this is visually, if you want to indicator to show you where the trend is getting reversed, you can enable this feature. If you turn off, it turns off the labels and it just shows the CPR. Inside the CPR, the color change is also a very good visual representation of a trend change. Okay, so this is all about the CPR features that has been introduced, which will help you in your analysis. Along with this, right, in the dashboard also you can see if there is an ascending CPR, right, it says descending and overlapping descending, and number how much descending is there. If it is one descending or two descendings, is in 2 days, 2 sessions continuously it is making descending, it will say as 2D. If this is the first descending CPR, you can see this, we had an ascending CPR, this is the first descending CPR, that's why it says 1D, one descending. Okay, that's the logic behind. And in case if you're using Cambrilla, right, it will also say wherever there is an inside Cambrilla, you know, like when the price is very much comprised, right, you get an inside Cambrilla getting formed, which is a very good sign that the market is likely for a breakout. So you can see this in the last trading session, we had a good breakout, and the indicator is also showing us inside Cambrilla getting formed. So this helps us to automatically predict what the move can be for that particular session. Okay, so let's talk about the next features. So next is the key price levels. In case if you are trading, right, the open, high, low, close prices are very important, not only for the time frame that you trade, even for a higher time frame. Say if you're trading daily, right, a weekly CPR band or weekly closing is also very important. So if you enable these features, right, it will also plot out the higher time frames, the key price levels, that is high, low, then it also plots out your R1 resistance and all those bands. So just play around, you will understand based on your trade setups or whatever your requirements, right, you can enable these options. And also it by default you can enable the lines. By default all the lines for these will be disabled. Enable this along with the price. If you want to show the price, keep the charts clean, then deselect that. Okay, and as I said, like these are ADR targets, by default it is enabled, and by lines and prices are not enabled by default. When you enable this, right, you can see it will plot out the targets for you. I'll just increase the size of the labels. So dashboard size I'll reduce, and I'll just increase the label sizing. Okay, pane labels I'll just make it large, or I'll make it normal. So you can see these are your ADR based targets. We'll just do that right here. Okay, now you can see this labels are nothing but your bullish and bearish targets. Okay, you can see TP1 is take profit 1, TP2 is take profit 2, TP3 is take profit 3, and TP4 is take profit, and so on. Okay, so dynamically, as I said, like the indicator is adaptive intelligence. Based on the volatility of that particular script, right, it will dynamically change in the market your targets levels. Okay, by default, as I said, like we don't plot the lines for each targets because it looks messy. So based on, to keep the charts clean, I've given that. But in case if you want to see the targets, right, you can just go here and then ADR lines and targets you can enable. Okay, once you enable both, right, you can see it will now plot the prices and the lines. You can see these lines out there. This is TP1 and the price, TP2 and the price, and these are bearish targets. In case if you are taking a reversal out here, say for example we got a bearish momentum surge here, in that case, right, which is the first TP1 and this is TP2, you can see it came to TP2 and bounced back. Like, so this helps you to also helps in target booking at various point, so that you know like where the market is likely to get a reversals. Okay, generally around TP2 and TP3, right, is the maximum range that the market travels. So when it approaches TP2 or TP3, right, you can anticipate a reversal in the market. Like, so these dynamic targets, right, helps us to do that part of it. Okay, so I hope you understood this part, ADR targets. Okay, before coming to this section of minor support and resistance, right, let me also talk about candlestick pattern, candlesticks. Like by default, right, the trending candles is enabled. Okay, I'll just switch it off to just to explain. So when that feature is switched off, right, in sense in the indicator by default that trending candles is on. If you don't switch it on, right, you can see all these are normal Japanese candles. Okay, you can see these candles are nothing but red and green. Green is a bullish candle, red is a bearish candle. Okay, that's all the information that you get when you have the default candle settings. But with AI, that is adaptive intelligence, in place, right, when you enable this, right, you can see it's just red and green candles. You know, like green candle is a bullish candle, but you don't know like where the actually all these are green candles. Like, you don't know like which candle is more powerful, like where the actually the bulls entered in this range. And similarly all these are candles, like, but you don't know like which is the candle in these all these red candles, right, which candle is more important for us. Okay, rather than considering all the candles, right, you should know which are the important candles for your consideration. So what we have done is each candles, right, when you enable this, we are given 3 color gradings for that. Okay, when you see we have 3 different shades of green and 3 different shades of red. Okay, you can go and back test yourself. There are 3 grading colors that you are given for bullish and bearish strength. Okay, the darker the color, it is more strength is there in that candle. So if the candle is very dark, those are the candles are of interest for you. If the candle is not that dark, right, then it is of not that much importance. Like, in sense it is a bullish candle, but if it is not a dark green, right, then you can wait for a dark green candle to get more confirmation into it. Okay, where the strength is more. See, this implementation of adaptive intelligence is done considering price action as well as volume into consideration. Generally volume is more important than price in most of the sense. Like, so we have taken into consideration whenever you get a dark green or a dark red, right, you can double sure that the volume is there in that candle. Okay, and you can see this this is a candle, you can see a dark green getting formed. That means to say this price has broken the upper resistance band with a volume, so you are more confident now to take a long position. Okay, similarly you can see a red candle getting formed, but you can see this is not dark red, so that means to say this is just a retracement, it's not a correction. Okay, so you, if you are in the long, right, then you can hold on to that. Okay, based on the zones where it is present at that point of time, based on the context, you can make additions, but this gives a lot of information. Like, okay, and you can see this is the current day high, that point of time, and you can see this is broken out with volume. Okay, because it is a dark green, so the bulls have come in the market. Like, once you know like these, right, and you can see this candle again, the bears all come into action. Once you know the bears have come, you also know like the last bulls came at this candle. Okay, and you can see this, it came down again, the bulls back in action, and then started moving on the upside. Okay, similarly here you got a bearish strong this, and then you can anticipate. So this is all about the by default enable trending candles, and by default the momentum surge is also shown. This momentum surge is see, this is not a buy sell kind of a trigger, okay, but these are the zones that are of importance, and it gives exactly where the bearish and the bullish momentum surge is coming. In sense, what I meant is, say for example, if you want to go long, right, you have to know that the bulls are stronger and there is a price surge in the bull side, okay. Similarly, if I want to go short in this, right, I want to know where the bears have more strength to get into the market. So that is what is called as momentum surge, either bullish or bearish. See, the price will not move only when few sellers have come in the market. It will not go down. It has to come with a surge, that it has to come with a bang, only then it will go. So that surge, right, momentum surge, is being automated with AI, adaptive intelligence. Okay, so when you enable this, right, it will show you the momentum surge. Okay, and by default it will plot only for the current session. So when I enable this, right, it will plot only for the current session. So these momentum surges are not plotted on the candlesticks. Just to keep the chart clean, right, what we have done is we have shown this momentum surge at the upper resistance, in the upper part of the chart, okay. So if you want to see any selling opportunities, you have to watch out for the surge in the upper, that is the sellers bearish momentum surge. And if you want to see this part of the screen to see the bullish surge, that is the bulls activity. And by default you can see this is the we are seeing 5 minutes chart, okay, and we can see it will only plot the session started here, okay. If I enable ETH, right, you can see this, it has started, the session started 9 o'clock 9:15 from here. So it has plotted only the triggers for the current day, okay. But you want to see also the historic triggers, you just go here and then say hide historic. You just uncheck this, it will now plot the historic previous sessions triggers, momentum surge triggers. Okay, why this is important? Okay, let me just explain. If you enable this, right, you can see yesterday during the market close, that is on Thursday during the closure, right, we got a bullish momentum surge and the high of that is taken out, and you can see a rally that is continuing on the opening. Okay, so this is what we are using for our entries. Okay, that is a bullish momentum surge and bearish momentum surge. Okay, bullish momentum surge is denoted in green, where we look for long opportunities, and bearish momentum surge is red color, which is we look for short opportunities. So when I get a bullish momentum surge, immediately can I go long? No. Once this trigger is fired, right, it will be fired at the closure of this candle. So you wait for this high of this to be taken out. That's the confirmation to go long. Similarly, when you get a bearish momentum surge here, just wait for the low of this to be compromised. That's the confirmation to go short. Okay, similarly, you got a bullish momentum surge here, high of that taken out is where you look for long opportunities. So to make your entries into the market, right, you have to wait for these triggers to form, and then once that trigger, if it is bearish, low has to be compromised, and if it is bullish, high has to be compromised. Say for example in this trigger, right, let me just zoom it out, you got a bullish momentum surge here. Okay, that means to say the bulls try to break this, but the high of that is not taken out. So this trigger is invalidated. You should not consider this, okay. And you can see again a bearish momentum trigger is fired here. Once this bearish trigger is fired, momentum, just mark the low of that, okay, that particular candle. Let me just mark that low where the trigger momentum surge is there. Once that low is compromised on a closing basis, that's the confirmation to go short. Okay, so to make entry into the markets, right, you wait for this momentum surge to be appearing in the market, and in the opening, right, you also consider from the previous session, any trigger momentum surge is there. Like if there is a momentum surge in the previous session and the high is taken out, then this is valid and the bulls are sitting at this place. So market, when it gaps up, right, you know, like the yesterday's bulls are still holding on to the trade. Okay, that's how you consider this. Okay, along with momentum surge, right, it also plots out X mark, like these X. Okay, these are nothing but exhaustion candles. Okay, what I mean by exhaustion candles is whenever the market is falling, say for example the market is falling from here, the bears strength has come, market is falling, all these bears who have entered the market, right, they are all exhausted yearly. So that's why it says exhaustion X mark, that is the bears have exhausted and the bulls have come here. Whenever you get these kinds of triggers, again the high of that taken out, you can again make your entries in the market. Okay, so you can historically go and back check. If you see here, the market gap down, went up, and we have a bullish exhaustion trigger found up here. Okay, once this low is compromised, you can take a shot. Okay, similarly you can see this huge gap down and you have an exhaustion trigger fired here, high of this taken out, you can go long. Okay, so the entries is now made that simple. Only you wait for the momentum surge as or the exhaustion to be formed, and then you make your entries. Now next comes the target. Like as I said, like in case of targets, right, you see your ADR based targets on the right hand side. That is when you have your default settings on, that is when I go to default settings analysis mode, you have your targets plotted on the right hand side. TP1, TP2 are the bullish targets, and when you're taking a short, red color TP1, TP2, TP3 or your bearish targets on the lower side. Okay, now let's talk about the AI mode. Okay, now the AI mode, what are the features that we have introduced is major support and minor support bands and this. So okay, as I said, like minor support bands are, in case of analysis mode, we know like in intraday, right, if I switch off HTF, that is higher time frame levels, it will plot only the intraday CPR and then the upper resistance band, lower resistance band. These are my minor support and minor resistance for that particular day. Okay, but in case if I want to see a one time frame higher, that is your major support resistance, I go and enable my higher time frame support and resistance. So when I do this, right, what it does, it goes and plots me the previous week. This is it starts from Monday, right, the previous Monday is here. So this week's whatever the price action that has happened, it calculates and plots me the CPR, which is the support and resistance. So this is my resistance, this is my support, and this is my weekly CPR band. Okay, so it does this action on the analysis mode based on the previous higher time frames. The same thing if you want to check it out, right, in the analysis AI mode, I just this, it will plot out whatever the manual historic higher time frame zones what we have correlating, right. We just enable major support resistance. What it does, it will go to your major higher time frame zone and calculates your support and resistances. By default in AI mode, right, if there is a red band, it is bearish band, that is it's a resistance band where the supply is there, like. And by default, if it is a green band, right, it is a support band where your demand is there, like, okay, where your buyers are there, and this is where your sellers are there. And you can see beautifully, like last week, right, the whole week it came to the weekly support and then pulled back to the weekly resistance. It just did this up down throughout the week. So whenever, if the market is trading in this band, right, you look for buying opportunity, you don't sell the market. And whenever it is trading in this, right, you look for selling opportunities, not buying opportunities, because these are the higher time frames major support and resistance. But when you're trading intraday, right, how do my intraday, I know like this is my weekly support and this is my weekly resistance, but the market is open somewhere here, it has taken support from my weekly support band. Intraday, I have to again figure out based on this day's price action what the support and resistances are there. For that, you have to go here and enable minor support and resistance. When you enable this, right, it will plot me for this intraday what is the minor support. You can see this is a red band here, red, green. See, along with the CPR lines plotted and these bands, right, it's very difficult and the charts get clumsy. Okay, so what we have done is just go here, change to AI mode, just say okay. Okay, so what it does, it will just plot you only the major. This is my major weekly resistance, this which plots from Monday to Friday, and my minor support resistance which plots only for the current trading session, that is for the only from the intraday. And you can see how beautifully it is took the weekly support. This is my support, went up, resistance. Since the market was struggling so much because it's a weekly resistance out there, like that's why it was trading very tough. And also you can see some of the bands as this dark borders, some doesn't have. Whenever there is a dark border to it, that means to say it is a very strong resistance. Okay, and when there is no box, it is it's a resistance, but it is not that strong. Okay, so these are some of the things. And whenever there is overlapping of bands, right, that means to say it is very strong or very in sense you can expect a more resistance from those. Okay, that is the inference that you make when you do those things. Okay, so it's as easy, like you just go do your analysis in the AI mode, analysis mode, and when you are done your analysis, right, in sense I'll just clear it everything out. And so by default all my things will be gone, and this is my analysis mode wherein it's like I just have only the weekly CPR and the intraday CPRs. And when I go to analysis AI mode, it will just plot the zones for each of those sessions. Like, and as I said, like for entries, you just look out for momentum surge and this. And lastly, along with this is more than enough to trade. Like, but I know like a lot of people are very much adapted to volume weighted average price VWAP and also moving averages. Like, okay, so we also add our PIMA based setups earlier, which helps us to visually see the price action. So I have just introduced that. Like, so we have VWAP volume weighted average price implemented, and I have a given option for daily, weekly, monthly and yearly VWAPs getting plotted out. So when you enable this, right, it will plot out the, you can see this, it has plotted. Let me just put this, I'll just remove the zones. Now let me just go in AI mode. Okay. Analysis mode. Okay, just to showcase that I hide everything else so that you can see what I am trying to say. Okay, let me just enable only your VWAP. Okay, now you can see I have enabled the VWAP, and I just also wanted the price of those. Like, so you know now in the last trading session, this is my weekly VWAP, blue color. This is my daily, monthly VWAP. This is my daily VWAP, and this is my yearly VWAP. Okay, and you can see the market on the opening took a beautiful support from weekly and monthly. So whenever the weekly and monthly is holding, it's very strong. Multiple time frame VWAPs giving support, very strong to go long. We got an exhaustion trigger out here. We also had yesterday the momentum, bullish momentum surge. So all chance of going long here. Like, okay, and when you're taking long here, you know these targets on the right hand side gives you the TP1, TP2 targets. Okay, and then the market rally out. So this helps you to make your analysis based on VWAP 2. Like, okay, and you can see this when it went up, right, the yearly VWAP showed some resistance. When it pulled back, daily VWAP supported. Okay, so this is one part of if you are using VWAP as for your trade analysis. Okay, so in case if you're not using that, I also give an option for adaptive regime band. This is the very well researched PIMA based, but much more advanced. What it does, like generally when you plot out the moving average based multi EMA bands, right, it's generally static. Like, but this is adaptive again based on the volatility, right? The moving averages also changes for the particular script. Okay, so when I enable this, right, it now plots me a band which shows the strength as well as the direction in the market, and also consolidation phase. Okay, you can see this is the market here. It is band is in green and the width of the band is very broad. That means to say it is a very strongly trending zone. Okay, and similarly when you see the band in red color and the band is width is slightly smaller, that means to say it is bearish, but it's not that strength is not there. And some places you see the market is showing blue color filled between the bands. Those are called as consolidation zones. Whenever you get these consolidation zones, you have a consolidation zone here, you have a consolidation zone here, you have a consolidation zone here, and you also had a consolidation zone here. So these are the zones. Once you get the market is likely consolidating and you anticipate a breakout. Okay, the market is consolidating at this price till here. After that you had a breakout. So this also visually shows you where the market is consolidating and how strong is the strength of that market. Okay, so this helps in doing your analysis visually based on that. Okay, so see, and lastly I want to touch upon a very important thing called as liquidity clusters and liquidity voids. I know there's a lot of features that has been implemented in this indicator. Each of these has been researched a lot and been implemented. It's like you have to connect the dots using each of those and then build up your trading analogy for the particular session. Okay, that's how it will go out. Like, okay, what is this liquidity clusters and liquidity voids? Let me just first say liquidity clusters. These are the price zones in the market where the market previously has lot of institutional buying done. Like, so these two prices, these blue bands especially, and then the this blue band and the orange band is where historically lot of orders liquidity is there. Okay, so like whenever there is a liquidity, right? So whenever there is a liquidity, you can say like something like this: whenever there is a liquidity out here, in sense, if the price comes down and goes right, then there is a huge move in that line. So this liquidity, when it comes down and goes right, that's very strong line. Okay, and these are like kind of support and resistances. So we can see this liquidity was there, it came down, pulled all the liquidities, broke out, and then went about like. Okay, so you can back this yourself. In case if you're using a premium version of the trading view indicator, just go and see each days where the let me just show you out, like in sense I just wanted to say like beauty of it. Like, let me just go somewhere last week, some Thursday, something like this, and you can see when this trading session started, right, we knew that there is a liquidity around this price. Okay, let me just show you here. We hide all the labels and nothing so that you can see those. I just wanted to showcase this because you'll appreciate how beautifully these liquidity zones works out. Okay, now you see this. This is a liquidity zone that was marked when the market just opened. We know now this is a liquidity zone. If the market comes down and goes up, right, this will act as a good support because all the liquidity is taken out in the market rally. When it rallies, right, you know which are the targets on the upside. So when I now go in fast forward mode, right, we can see this now throughout the session, right, that has acted as a good support. Every time it came down, the liquidity, people have bought the script and then it went up like. Okay, so when this day ended here and when the next day starts, right, let me just show you. So they ended, the liquidity was still there. When the next day started, it will calculate the liquidity based on these recent price actions and then it will plot me the next liquidity. So when the market starts, right, you know now these are liquidity. So this is a strong support. The market is very unlikely to break this out. And let's see now, I just go in fast forward mode so you can see how the price is treating those zones. Okay, throughout the day it didn't come to that. Next day you can see this is where the liquidity was there. That's where the market pulled up, went to this resistance liquidity, pulled the liquidity out there and then hold on. The next trading session, this acted, see the liquidity, how beautifully it respected out there. Okay, so Next day again it built a liquidity, broke on the upside, and the market stayed around that. Okay, so I just want, see, these are the different what you call as armors that is required for when you get in a battle. Each of those will give you a different perspective of the market and helps you to make your trading decisions in much more confidence thing, and also helps you to sit on a trade for a long time. Okay, so that's all the different things. And lastly, I just forgot to tell you, in case if you are going less than 3 minutes, right? So if I'm going in analysis mode, let's switch to analysis mode. So 5 minutes you are trading, I know like it's plotting the weekly CPR and the weekly daily CPR zones. So in case if you are trading intraday, right, switch to regular trading hours, okay, and then go to anything less than 5 minutes, like 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I prefer 3 minutes. When you switch to 3 minutes, right, what it will does this, our trading session started from here, that is 9:15 till end of the day. It has now divided that whole session into three. This is my first morning opening session, mid session, and the last session. So we have three CPRs getting plotted. So based on this morning session, right, it will now plot me the intermediate level, like that is the mid session, that is from 11:30 to 1:30, like. Okay, again from 1:30 to 1, when you are entering the market at this price, right, you know like where the support and resistance is there for the last session. Okay, and it will also give you the pure based levels for your analysis. Okay, if you are not that comfortable with pure analysis, just go to AI mode. In the last trading session, right, it will try to plot out the support and resistances for that particular session. Okay, now you got it. So you know now this is my major support for that particular last session starting at 1:30, and this is my major resistance for the last session. So you can see that we got a trigger out here to go long, and it is at also at the support. So now which is my target? This upper resistance is my target. So that's that easy, like. Okay, so I just want you to take the indicator, okay, play around. Any, you can go and backtest for any script, it will work perfectly for all the kinds of scripts here. Okay, let me just go in analysis, just go in 5 minutes. Okay, so as I said, like this works for all kinds of time frames and all kinds of scripts. So we're almost running out nearly 50 minutes, so I just don't want to drag it out much, but you can test out. Now I just open Nifty. Let me just show you Bank Nifty for the last trading session. So this is the Bank Nifty for the last trading sessions, that is 17th July. Okay, see, none of the things you need to draw, like everything is drawn for you automatically. Okay, so you know now this is my weekly resistance, and this is my weekly support, weekly resistance. Market opened at weekly support, we got an exhaustion buy trigger, then it went on to the resistance, and you can see this, it just traded in this resistance multiplier. We got a short here. Okay, low was not compromised, so this is invalidated. We got a long here, high was not taken, this is invalidated. So you knew that once this target is booked out, right, you can see this already gave TP2 target. So after this, right, you didn't get any triggers between this, because all the triggers which was fired was invalidated because the high and low of that is not compromised. So it avoids you to stay away from consolidation market. Okay, and whenever the market is about to break out, right, you can see a momentum surge trigger found here, and then once you take a trade here, right, you know automatically where the next resistance is there for that line. Okay, so this is Bank Nifty. So that I just show you Sensex. Okay, this is the last zones that is being plotted in AI for Sensex for 17. So you can see again similar patterns, similar kind of momentum surge plotted out on the upper lower support resistance bands. Okay, so let me also see some of the other scripts, like if you're trading Bitcoin. Let's see live Bitcoin currently. Now I'm doing this on 19th July. Let's see, in case if you're trading Bitcoin, right, I suggest 15 minutes time frame, but it's left to you. In case if you're comfortable with 5 minutes, you can, but anything 24-hour cycle markets, right, I prefer to do 15 minutes or 30 minutes. So you know now this is the day it started Bitcoin. You know this is my weekly resistance, so I'll not go at this. any trigger out here to go short, right? You can see this in Bitcoin live. Today we got a trigger here. This is my support. Beautifully it came out. This is the beauty of it. Like when the market started out here, right? Let me just pull this first candle of the day. When this was plotted out for you, that is at 6 o'clock in the morning when the Bitcoin started out, we knew this is at resistance and there is one more resistance out here. So what we are planning to do, this is my intraday resistance band. We have an exertion candle out here. If the low is compromised, this is my stop out there, and this is the target I am anticipating the market to come down. Okay, so now you can see, let me just run through. So you can see this, what's happened in the market, came on to the targets and then staying out that. Okay, so there's nothing that I have to prove it out of this setups. You can go and backtest yourself for any script in the world. Okay, so I'll let me also show some of the commodity scripts so that let's check US oil. So US oil 17th, that is Friday sessions, you can see this was weekly intraday support, intraday resistance. Market initially found resistance, came back, got a buy. It's a break inside trade, went out and then pulled out. And you can see if you have taken a long around here, which is the possible targets, TP1, TP2, TP3, TP4. As I said, like the market is saying we are anticipating a range, expected range of 3 points, and you can see this is exactly given 4 points, so 129% of the move. Okay, so US oil, this is the gold for the last trading session. So let's see gold. Okay, you can see the AI automatically plots out the support and resistances for that particular session. Now you are trading 15 minutes, so you are doing intraday. But if you are a swing player, just change to 1 hour charts. It will plot out the weekly and the monthly major support and the weekly minor support and resistance bands. So I just changed now to 1 hour charts. You can see this is the week starting from Monday. This is my weekly resistance, this is my weekly support, and these support and resistances are plotted on the very first day of the week, so you can plan your trades accordingly. And as I said, like the last week's in this, which is this gold, you can see this last week there is a bearish momentum around this price that was continued throughout this week and went on to test the weekly support. Okay, so that's it, guys. I think so. Like hope you will enjoy this Traders Hedge PRO adaptive intelligence indicator. You can, I leave the subscription link, how to where to get it subscribed for this indicator in the description of this video. Just go and check it out. See, this is I just want to tell the disclaimer at the very right bottom. I'm not SEBI registered, so there is no buy and sell tips that is being provided here. It's a pure technical analysis tool which helps you to pull out the supply and demand where exists in the market, and also shows the volume based information along with where the volatility based on the price action happening around there. Okay, so I just want your valuable feedback. I know there is it's almost a 1 hour video, but it's worth the 1 hour, which will help you out to make consistent and more confident trades in the market. Okay, thank you for listening. Happy trading, guys.